Ah, my audience, welcome back. You've come far, haven't you? They watched you, mocked you, dismissed you. They called you naive, gullible, a fool for believing in yourself when no one else did. They told each other stories behind your back, confident that you were blind, deaf, asleep. But now the tables have turned. Now they look over their shoulders, whispering different stories, because something has shifted, something they can't explain. You see, they realized you were never fooled, and now they look ridiculous. You played the part so well. You wore the mask they expected. You nodded at their empty wisdom, laughed at their hollow jokes, let them believe they held power over you. All the while, you were watching, calculating, absorbing every betrayal and every fake smile like fuel to a rising flame. You let them underestimate you. That was your power. You let them believe they were the puppeteers when in fact, they were dancing to the rhythm of your silence. They thought you didn't know, but you did. You knew everything. And now that you've risen, now that your silence has become thunder, they can't cope with the mirror you hold up to them, the one that shows who they truly are. Fools in a game they never understood. There's a special kind of power in being doubted. It sharpens the edges of your mind. It teaches you to see through lies and pretenses. And when you rise, not suddenly, but deliberately, your very existence becomes a judgment upon those who laughed at your struggle. They scoffed at your dreams because they never had the courage to chase their own. They called you lost because they were terrified of your direction. But now they flinch at your shadow because it reminds them of every opportunity they threw away while trying to bury yours. They are not afraid of you. They are afraid of what you represent. Proof that they were wrong and that you knew it all along. Let them choke on their pride. Let them wear the shame they tried to sew into your skin. You do not owe them clarity. You owe them nothing but distance and the echo of your success. They wanted you broken. They needed you confused, because if you ever stood tall, their illusions would collapse. And now look, you stand like a monument to resilience, and they crumble like the fragile facades they are. Do not look back for their approval. Do not reach for their hands. They do not deserve the comfort of your forgiveness. Some truths are too pure to be shared with the deceitful. Let them sit in the ruins of their arrogance and pretend not to see the empire you built in the shadows. It's funny, isn't it? How the same voices that said, "You'll never make it," are now silent, or worse, applauding. Hollow praise from hollow people. But don't let it distract you. Their validation is counterfeit. Their admiration is just another mask. They are not celebrating you. They are trying to survive your success. Because when someone they doubted rises beyond them, it shakes the very foundation of their reality. They can't accept that you weren't lucky. You were right. You weren't rescued. You endured. You weren't slow. You were patient. And now, they're exposed. It wasn't just about proving them wrong. It was about proving you right. That quiet voice inside you that never stopped whispering, even when the world screamed over it. That voice was always yours. That was your true ally. And now, it's a roar. You didn't just survive their doubt. You weaponized it. You turned their scorn into steel. You turned their laughter into armor. And you used every rejection as a stepping stone, every insult as a compass. They gave you fire, and you forged yourself into something untouchable. And yet, there's still more to do. You didn't rise to stop here. This isn't revenge. This is evolution. You've learned that power doesn't come from being seen. It comes from seeing. You've seen them for what they are. You've seen yourself for what you can become. So keep moving. Let the silence speak louder than your victories. Let the world chase your shadow while you chase your truth. They'll try to rewrite the past, pretend they were with you from the beginning. Let them. You don't need to remind them of their betrayal. Your success does that every time you breathe. The darkness they tried to drown you in has become your domain. You navigate it with precision. You thrive in it. Because you no longer fear it, you've mastered it. And in mastering it, you've become something more than they ever imagined. You've become inevitable. They see you now, but too late. They want to follow, but they can't keep up. Because while they wasted time mocking your dream, you were becoming the kind of person who doesn't need their world at all. So walk forward, not with arrogance, but with certainty. Because you remember every word, every slight, every glance they threw your way. And you wear it like armor, not wounds. They can't hurt you anymore. Not because they've changed, but because you have. You are not what they tried to break. You are what rose from their failure. And as they sit in the debris of their delusion trying to understand how they lost control, let them feel it. Let them feel the weight of your silence. Let them feel the truth, that you were never fooled. And now they look ridiculous. You don't rise from the ashes just to return to the fire. You don't rebuild yourself to offer your strength back to those who tried to crush it. Number, you rise to become something that they no longer understand, something they can't reach. Because what they mocked was not weakness, it was potential in disguise. And now, that disguise is gone. What stands in front of them is undeniable. They can't unsee it. They can't rewrite it. They can only live with it. The truth that while they laughed, you evolved. While they schemed, you prepared. And while they fell in love with their illusions, you became reality. They talk now behind closed doors, calling it luck or timing or a change of heart. They cannot bear to say what truly happened, that they were wrong, utterly, completely wrong. And not just about you, about themselves. Because to admit your strength is to confront their cowardice. And most people will burn every bridge before they cross that truth. But it doesn't matter. You no longer wait at those bridges. You no longer linger for their recognition. What you carry now is beyond that. It's power. Not the kind they chased with lies and politics, but the kind earned through blood, silence, and fire. You see, they needed you to be small, not because you were, but because their egos couldn't coexist with your growth. They needed you to doubt yourself, to trip, to fail, because every one of your setbacks made them feel safe. But you didn't stay down. You didn't give them what they wanted. Instead, you stood up every single time. And every time you did, you became more dangerous. Because nothing terrifies a liar more than someone who knows the truth and says nothing. You held it all in, not out of fear, but out of strategy. They called it silence, but you knew it was strength. And now you walk among them not as a peer, but as a reckoning. They can feel it when you enter the room, the shift in energy, the weight of their guilt, the silent scream in their minds saying, "We misjudged them." But it's too late, because now you don't need to speak. Your presence does the talking, your actions do the screaming. You became the answer to every doubt they ever threw at you, and they can't escape it. You've become the reminder they dread, the mirror they avoid. Every success of yours burns a little more into their skin, not because you boast, but because they remember every word they used to try to bury you. They remember how they laughed, and now that laughter echoes in empty halls, while your name carries weight in rooms they can't enter. They feel like imposters now, because they are. They tried to write your ending before your story began, but you took the pen from their hands, and now Every chapter you live is a story they can't control. They think you're angry. They're wrong. You're awake. You're aware. And that is far more dangerous than anger ever was. Anger fades. Awareness sharpens. It builds. It grows. It becomes focus. And now that focus is aimed at everything they never wanted you to see, every truth, every lie, every door they tried to lock, you walk through those doors now. You don't knock. You don't ask permission. You take your place. Because it was always yours. They just couldn't accept it. This isn't about revenge. It never was. Revenge is too small for you now. You don't need to hurt them. You just need to live. And that's the wound they'll never recover from. Knowing that your existence, your excellence, your rising, invalidates everything they believed about themselves. You don't need to destroy them. Their own delusion is doing that perfectly. Let it. Let the truth chew away at the lies they wrap themselves in. Let your progress write the obituary of their arrogance. You don't stop here. You don't wait. Because every second wasted on them is a second stolen from the future you're still building. You're not here to dance on graves. You're here to raise monuments. You are the monument. Every step forward is a legacy. Every breath is a testament. You didn't just survive their sabotage. You thrived in its shadow. And now, they can only watch as you become everything they claimed was impossible. They underestimated you. Let that be the story they carry to their end. Let them remember how certain they were, how confident in their ignorance. Let them sit with the silence you gave them, the silence that grew teeth. They thought you were quiet because you were weak. They never understood you were silent because you were watching, calculating, learning. And now you know everything, every weakness, every fear, every mask they wore. You don't need to expose them. They're already unraveling under the weight of their own lies. Keep building. Keep climbing. Let them choke on the dust you leave behind. They will try to catch up, but they don't have the endurance. They never trained in the fire the way you did. They never walked through storms with no shelter. You did. And now your strength is not just physical, it's spiritual, mental. It radiates from you. It blinds them. They wear sunglasses in your presence, not to look cool, but because your light burns away their illusions. You are clarity in a world of fog. And clarity is terrifying to the deceivers. They realized you were never fooled, and now they can't look at you without feeling exposed. Let that haunt them. Let it echo in the rooms they once ruled. You were never beneath them. You were beyond them. They just didn't know it yet, but now they do. And it's too late to apologize, too late to explain, too late to rewrite the past. You hold the pen now, and you're not writing for them, you're writing for you. For the part of you that stayed silent when it would have been easier to scream. For the part that kept walking when your legs begged to collapse. For the version of you that never gave up. That version is alive, evolved, unstoppable. You see, when the world expects you to crumble, every breath you take becomes an act of defiance. Every step forward is a rebellion. Every success is a slap across the face of every doubter who once smirked at your ambition. And when they finally see you standing, unbroken, taller than ever, their knees buckle, not out of admiration, but from the unbearable weight of regret. They remember the things they said, the way they dismissed you, the way they paraded their certainty that you would fail. And now, those memories are chains they can't shake off. Let them carry those chains. Let them drag that weight for the rest of their lives. It belongs to them. You gave them every chance to see you clearly, and they spat in your face. You offered sincerity, and they chose scorn. You offered loyalty, and they served betrayal. So now you offer them nothing, not a word, not a glance, not a second of your time, because they earned the silence, they earned the absence. And there is no forgiveness for those who mocked the roots while you planted the tree, because now that tree stands tall and its shadow covers everything they once called theirs. They were never prepared for your discipline. They mistook your patience for passivity. They thought, because you didn't bite back, you couldn't. But now they understand. You don't bark, you strike, with precision, with timing, and with the cold truth they never saw coming. You are the living proof that grace does not mean weakness, and kindness does not mean surrender. You walked through hell without flinching. And now, as you walk through their circles, their boardrooms, their hierarchies, they shiver. Not because you're loud, but because you are undeniable. What once was dismissed as foolish ambition is now a force of nature. What once was mocked as naivete is now revealed as vision. And what once was ignored is now impossible to ignore. The same people who laughed are now silent, or worse, clapping, smiling, pretending they were always with you. Don't believe them. Don't forget. Don't confuse proximity with loyalty. Keep your circle sharp, your memory sharper, because some of them will return, not to celebrate you, but to siphon from your light. And you know better now. You've learned that not everyone clapping is cheering. Some are just hiding their jealousy behind applause. Do not slow down. Do not soften. This world wasn't made for those who wait to be chosen. It was made for those who rise, regardless. You weren't invited. You broke in. You weren't crowned. You built your own throne, and they hate you for that. Because deep down, they know they'll never do what you did. They'll never have the spine, the grit, the vision. You didn't win by luck. You didn't fake it. You paid the full price, in isolation, in sleepless nights, in sacrifice. While they played safe and smiled pretty, you bled quietly. And now, your results speak volumes, loud enough to drown out every lie they ever told about you. They want to act like none of it happened, that they never doubted you, that they always believed. Let them rewrite their own history if it helps them sleep, but never let them write yours. Your story is carved in stone, not to be altered, not to be sanitized. You were there, you remember. Every sneer, every barrier, every fake friend, every betrayal. You carry those memories not as wounds, but as weapons, sharpened, refined, polished. Let your pain be your compass. Let it always point forward, because the past is done, and they're still stuck in it, drowning in the decisions they made or failed to make when you needed them most. Now they come with praise, with admiration, with offers. Let them, and watch carefully, because admiration can be another form of manipulation. They may not fear you, yet, but they will. Not because of what you'll do to them, but because of what you've already done, risen. And not just risen, but changed. They look at you and see someone they no longer understand. That's good. That's how it should be. You outgrew their comprehension. You broke free of the limits they tried to brand into you. And now, even their compliments feel hollow, like confessions from the guilty, because that's what they are. They thought you were a chapter, but you were the whole damn book. They thought they could write your story, but they were never the author. You were, you are, you always will be. And that power, that sovereignty over your own identity, is what they can't handle. They wanted you to doubt yourself because they doubted themselves. They feared your courage because it exposed their cowardice. And now, with every move you make, you remind them that they had a front row seat to greatness and chose to look away. That's the real tragedy for them. Not your rise, but their absence from it. Not that you made it, but that they missed it. They were so busy trying to win imaginary battles that they lost the only one that mattered, the battle of character. And now, as they look at you from the sidelines, they don't see a rival. They see a mirror they cannot bear to face, because your existence is a rebuke. Your triumph is a trial. Your name is a sentence, reminding them of everything they failed to be. So wear that crown, not because they finally see you, but because you finally see yourself. You earned every bruise, every scar, every ounce of power in your voice. Don't dim it now. Don't lower your volume to make them comfortable. You were never meant to make them comfortable. You were meant to shake the ground they stand on. And now, every word you speak, every step you take, cracks the foundations they thought were solid. You became the storm, and no storm apologizes. Don't stop now. Don't descend to their level for closure. You don't need closure. You need momentum. Let them chase ghosts. Let them obsess over timelines. You have a future to build, one they will never be part of. And every time they look at you, let them be reminded of what happens when strength chooses silence. Let them remember that you were never fooled. And now, they look ridiculous. You see, the greatest revenge is not in what you say, it's in who you become. You became the version of yourself they said didn't exist. You became the living contradiction to their judgment. You became the fire they thought would destroy you, and you used it to light the way. There is no going back. There is no return to the meek, the unsure, the doubting version of yourself. That person is gone, burned away. In their place stands someone unstoppable, someone who does not beg for belonging, but creates it, someone who walks into rooms and shifts the atmosphere. That's who you are now, and they know it. Oh, they know it. That's why they shrink when you enter. That's why they avoid your gaze. Because you are not just a person anymore. You are a reckoning, a monument to what happens when you stop asking for permission and start taking what's yours. They hoped you would stay broken, but instead, you became unbreakable. And they will never forgive you for it, because your strength reminds them of their surrender. Your success reminds them of their excuses. Let them rot in those regrets. You don't owe them redemption. You owe yourself elevation. So rise, and never stop rising. Burn every bridge that leads back to their doubt. Light up every path that leads forward, and let the world watch. Let them all see what happens when you refuse to be defined by those too blind to see you. You are the storm, the answer, the proof, the moment, the movement, the consequence. You were never fooled, and now they look ridiculous. So now, as the dust settles and the masks fall, remember this: you never needed their validation. You never needed their approval, their praise, or their permission. The path was always yours to walk. You took every insult, every rejection, every betrayal, and you turned it into momentum. They built walls, and you built wings. They set traps, and you learned to fly. And now, they stare in stunned silence, watching you soar, realizing too late that you were never beneath them. You were always beyond them. Let them talk. Let them spin their lies. Let them rewrite the past to soothe their shame. None of it matters, because the truth walks with you. It echoes in your stride. It shines in your silence. And it roars in every victory they said you'd never taste. You've already won, not because they lost, but because you never stopped moving. You rose when they tried to bury you. You built when they tried to break you. And you spoke not with words, but with legacy. Let the final image burn in their minds. You, standing tall, calm, untouchable, a monument to endurance, a living consequence of their failure to see. You were never fooled, and now they look ridiculous.